I don't know. Let's see here. Okay. And if I haven't had too many problems on my end with the signal, but there's been a few times that it goes out. If it were to go out, I'll just come back in. You guys can just keep talking.
Yeah, likewise.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Igualmente.
Okay, here we go. Let me just put this on your page. Let's see what to do. Gary. So people misspell it. I would think I'd be the one to misspell it.
Yeah, you're one of the few that spelled it correctly. Ah, there we go.
Diane Lang. There we go. Okay. Boom, boom. Both of you are tagged.
Thank you.
Let me just make sure it caught on to YouTube because I don't see that it did. All right. Yeah, there it is. Okay. All right. Let's get started.
Yeah.
I took a day off yesterday. Well, I didn't. I mean, I worked. I just didn't do any shows. So this is technically the first show of the week, and we have, I believe, I think 14 shows this week.
Wow.
Something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we have 13 shows this week. This is the first one. I'm excited about this one. We've got some new friends in the house, Gary and Diane Lang. They're doing some great work. Indigo Blue Star, I think is what it's called. I went to their website. Looks pretty fascinating. They're also on the Fluffy Love and Light Union Road. I say that. I say that because she sent me an email or a message. I think it was an email, and explained, like this is who we are. We saw you were looking for people to come on, and this is kind of our story, and something about the last 8 years, and I was like, oh my, I can feel that. I could feel the blood and the sweat and the tears and the love and the confusion and the commitment and the devotion. So
Mm.
hats off to you on that. And I'm happy to have y'all both here. Thank you for coming in and sharing space with us and honoring us with your presence.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks
It's
for
an
having
honor
us.
to be here. Um, like I said, I've been following you for a while, so it's an honor to be here and to share space with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know where to start. I mean, the other thing that's kind of synchronistic is I'm living in Mexico, at least for the next couple of weeks, and you guys are living in Mexico.
Yeah.
You're from Scotland, and I don't know. Normally, I'll say, did you guys have a wake up experience, or have you always been this weird? But we got two of you here, so did, so did you each have a wake up experience individually, and did you have one together as well?
Yeah, I certainly had a wake-up experience in 2018 was my awakening. Prior to that, I would say I was very disconnected from my spiritual gifts, my higher self. Had a long history of addiction and yeah, just real disconnection from self. And through the process of breaking that addictive programming and patterning, I was left with quite a few physical health problems affecting my gut and things like that. So I went on a self-healing journey. I was a nurse. I was a nurse in the NHS for 20 years, but I was guided down a natural healing path, a holistic healing path. And it was through that kind of quest to heal myself that my spiritual awakening happened. My third eye opened, and I started to become aware of my gifts, my sensitivities, my empathy that I had spent many years trying to run away from and suppress, and started to learn a bit about what it means to be an empath and how that can affect you. And my life started to make sense for the first time after a lot of years. So my awakening started through ill health, kind of sparking a spiritual awakening, which took me on a self-healing journey, a self-love journey, which turned into this beautiful divine union journey that I had no idea about at the time. So that was my initial awakening, I would say.
Mine was similar. Mine was the same. It was physical and emotional, mental health issues, and it was the same. It was I came on a self-healing journey, self-reclamation journey, and then Diane sent me a book while I was in hospital, and that's what awakened me, the book. So it was like Diane seen me posting from hospital and sent me this book called The Awakened Empath. And when I read it, it just opened up the doors for me. That was like our first connection. We didn't even really know each other at the time. We knew of each other, but we didn't really speak or anything on Facebook. It was just my post came up and Diane seen it, and that was the divine connection from there. And this I've had the same 20 years of mental health issues, physical ailments, you name it. Just dark night of the soul, you would call it. And that was, I always knew there was always the programming, was always like an advocate for the programming and the governments and all of these things. So I was quite awake to an extent, but I was still in the program. But that spiritual awakening was like the key component to my new life, my new beginning again. So the physical and then the spiritual came, and it was just like it opened up every opportunity and the most amazing doors.
Mm.
Okay. So I like this. Okay. So on or about 2018 for you, and it sounds like not too long afterward for you. That,
2020.
20, I would say.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was the catalyst for you because
Yeah.
you were, but I mean, you're in hospital and you're posting up, I would imagine something authentic,
Yeah.
and she saw it and sends you a book, and then the rest is history.
Yeah. That's it.
Pretty much.
And then that was our communication. That's when we spoke for 10 months on Messenger. We didn't even really, I didn't even know what Diane looked like or anything. We just spoke on Facebook Messenger for 10 months and got to know each other.
We had
We'd met
when we were younger, like in our teenage years, we had met in a nightclub in Scotland. We used to go to the same nightclub every week. So I had an awareness of who Gary was. He was quite well known. And he had six brothers, and they all used to go to this nightclub. So everybody kind of knew who the Langs were. So, and his brother was an MC. So I had a real awareness of Lang, the Lang brothers. So when Gary when I added him as a friend on Facebook and I started to see his posts, I got really like you say, drawn into the authenticity and the heartfelt sharing of his posts and really resonated with that on a deep level. And that was what made me reach out.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Now, when did you guys figure out that you were screwed? When did y'all figure out that something was going on to this level?
Yeah. So once I kind of awakened and started developing my spiritual gifts, my channel opened really quite quickly. My gifts came online really quite rapidly. So I was really tapped in and I was receiving a lot of guidance. I was channel writing all the time and just receiving a lot of guidance. So I started to get really guided on my path, and I received guidance that I had a twin flame. And I didn't know at that time really what a twin flame was, but I just knew that I had one. That was the information that came through. And I knew that my twin flame was an indigo type 3 as well, because that came through, that information. So when I met Gary and I reached out, I had no idea that he was my counterpart. I had no idea that we had this journey together, we had this history together, but I just did what I was guided to do, heart and soul. But we just communicated for 10 months online, and I think looking back, that was we were activating each other's remembrance, and we were falling in love effectively. When you look back at those messages, we told each other we loved each other before we met in the physical. But it was about 4 weeks after we actually met in the physical realm, which was June 2021, that I realised this twin flame that's going to come into my life that I think is somebody else is actually Gary. It seemed too easy because he lived in the same city as me, he'd been half an hour away from me all my life. I kind of knew him when I was younger. It didn't fit the stereotypical image of what I maybe thought the twin flame would look like or the journey would look like. So yeah, I realised that in about 4 weeks after meeting, I just knew this connection's like nothing I've ever experienced before.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's like that old commercial here in the US, Lay's potato chips. You can't stop eating them. Like you don't have a choice, right?
But
Well,
definitely.
that's, I mean, yeah, and it's such a convoluted subject. But I really feel that, this is, this is after all the unveiling, the great unveiling, that the truth will arise. And I believe that one of those truths are these couples, because I've always felt how can you have oneness or unity consciousness with 3 or 4 or 10 or 100 or 1,000 people if you can't have it with one other person first? I mean, it's too big of a proposition. As these couples know, you go through heavens and hells and unexplainable situations, and sometimes the human gets a little bit freaked out because the human's got a whole different set of beliefs and that type of thing. Do you feel that something has radically changed here in this summer, or even this month of September? I know, looking at some of the work that y'all do, I figured it'd be a good question to ask you, because I haven't had a couple on here during this time, but some of the anecdotes and retellings that people have of these recent weeks has been very compelling and intriguing and moving.
Definitely September has been it's been a month, I don't know, of retreat. I would say it's been a month of where a lot of energy has been getting transmuted, and we've been moving. There's a lot. I've seen a lot of people in the spiritual community taking a step back in the month of September, and I think it's, for me, I feel as if it's just everything. It's an illumination month. It was to illuminate all of the stuff that's been happening in the world, and a lot more people. It's to allow people to actually see it for themselves, rather than us going out there and saying things all the time and posting about it. It's basically like, okay, you need to see this for yourself. And September is a big month for a lot of things that happen every year. If you look back in history, you'll see that September is a big month for 9/11s and all of these things. There's always a energy harness because of the portals and things like that, and the ninth. And it is a very, very potent year with the 9 number and stuff like that as well. So, and September is the ninth. So for me, it's been a lot about people have had to take a step back and just and retreat and allow things to play out. And a lot more people are starting to see through it, starting to see through the veil. I feel as if we've left the energy in September, took a step back and allowed people to feed off that beautiful energy and allowed them to illuminate everything that's been happening.
Yeah.
Certainly for me, I think September, not just September, but 2025, I feel like for me, for the feminine, it's been a really deep year of reclamation and retrieval of a lot of our divine feminine aspects that have been, we've had to go to the depths to retrieve into darker timelines, darker experiences, to actually retrieve them. And I see that through other women, other sisters as well. But 2025 has been such a transformative year different from any other year on the spiritual journey that I've been on. We've said this just
Definitely.
recently, it's been completely different from any other year. We've never experienced the depths of reclamation, I feel, that we're moving through this year
Yeah,
to that extent.
we actually did say this at the start of 2025, of like, we kind of said that this is the way things will happen in this year, and then the last few months of the year are going to be very intense, but they're also going to be very beautiful as well, where it has to get to this stage for people to actually see beyond the veil.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more people like totally awakening every day, which is beautiful to watch, beautiful to be part of.
Yeah. I like what you say about elimination and illumination. It's
Yeah.
like the more elimination, the more illumination.
Yeah, that's it.
I agree with you. My soul came in and told me right around the beginning of the year that you guys just finished 12 years
Yeah.
through that solstice in 24. And there's another, now we're into the next 12-year cycle, something like that. And that everything that we had set out to do, we completed in that 12-year period. It just didn't feel like it, and it wasn't reciprocated because it was in the distortion. But that our efforts, the seeds we planted would come to us, beginning this year, and that we're now, the energy's working with us. And in other words, it's the dominant force, or you could say it's been done in the energetic field, and now it's going to play out in the physical. And
Yeah.
and how that plays out is, I think, going to be very interesting. To Gary's point, now, do you? And everyone's different, and every couple I've met is different. Do you commune together? Do you do sessions together? Is that a normal practice, or do you both do it together sometimes, and then other times you do it alone? How do you have a practice? Because I know, just so everybody knows, they're from Scotland and they're now living in Ixtapa, Mexico, doing their work, which is fascinating because I can just imagine you walking through the street speaking Scottish.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you have a spiritual practice together? Because I know a lot of people are interested in that type of thing that aren't in a relationship like this.
Yeah, so when we came into union in 2021, I would say that we went into mission quite quickly, and we started offering sessions together really quite quickly of, where we're helping people activate their gifts and their remembrance, and really helping people with multidimensional embodiment, I would say. And we had a lot of knowledge and wisdom of the Indigo Type 3 contract, because Gary had that contract, and we had a lot of knowledge and wisdom of, breaking the ancestral curse, the ancestral patterning, because it was our own path that we'd both moved through. So we were really like, at that time when we came into union and we created Indigo Blue Star together, our focus was on, I suppose, activating people and helping them activate their gifts or remembrance, and assisting people who were maybe on these Indigo Type 3 contracts who were really struggling, and helping to bring through the codes that they needed to complete those contracts. So we were doing that for quite a few years, and what we realised was, like, we didn't want to work apart. We got to this point where we realised we didn't want to separate, we didn't want to work apart, we felt more comfortable working together. And since we came to Mexico in October last year, we've been working on our own Divine Union template more deeply, and we were shown that, we were kind of trauma bonded through different lifetimes, and the falls in consciousness, and things that we'd experienced together, rituals we'd taken part in, things like that had created this quantum entanglement and trauma bonding, where when we came into union, we didn't want to separate again. There was a fear of separating, of not working together. And we love working together, and we hold a very powerful transformative kind of container. But this year, probably more than a year ago, I got the call to step into divine feminine leadership. And that's been a journey for me to feel safe enough to do that, to feel safe enough to work without Gary, for Gary to find what it is he wants to do. So we're on this path, I think, of really carving out our individual leadership legacy kind of missions right now, but we also co-create together. So we offer Divine Union Mastery sessions, packages, Divine Partnership coaching, and Quantum Life coaching, which is really the main thing that we do, where we just use all the tools and techniques that we use to change our frequency and vibration and change our reality, to help others do the same. So we do all of that together, but we're definitely carving out our own paths now that we've cleared a lot of that bondage, I would say. Oh,
Well,
you're on mute.
you're on mute.
Thank you. That's very interesting, especially considering the time that it's occurring, which is in this year. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's where my questions were going were, well, I wonder what their experience was from the human level in 2025, because that seems to be, a big part of it. The veil thing. It's like the universe gave us a big giant mirror and stuck it in our face, And so we're seeing things in ourselves, which is helping us to clear it. And I know it's not all linear, but it's interesting too what you have to say about the recognized trauma entanglements from past lives, and the knowing that you've had many connections over the years and not wanting to separate again, because that seems to be a really big theme with these couples, is periods of separation, which don't have to mean physically. I mean, I've talked to some people on this show that, for instance, the guy said, I've got to go. I'm going to go travel the world for 6 months or a year and find myself. And or other times when we've got to separate from each other. So there's a lot of that. And I wonder sometimes if it's the energy is so powerful that the coding is exchanged and you kind of got to go integrate it, in that isolation, even if it's for a day or a month or whatever the case is. But it sounds like that you are receiving the information together. I know that the feminine's typically the one that receives,
Yeah.
but if you're in communion a lot and session a lot daily, I would imagine that it's coming from both now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely, yeah. And I think for us, we were in separation for over 30 years, if you look at it, because we initially met as teenagers, and that was our initial activation, and then we went on our individual path. So we were in separation for well over 30 years, and we didn't come into union until I'm trying to think what age I was, probably like 44, 45, and Gary was
47.
yeah.
47, I would have been.
So we had both lived a life where, we'd had
No.
children, we'd had
50.
did
I
I know I was
50.
thinking he's trying to make
just-
himself younger.
I was 50. It was actually my 50th birthday that Diane sent me the book when I was in hospital. So that was when I had my awakening. It was my 50th birthday.
So I think for us, like we'd gone through years of separation and years of self-discovery and clearing out karmic contracts and karmic relationships and all these different tests and initiations. So when we came into union, there was absolutely no fear that we were ever going to separate again. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you knew that. That was
Yeah.
unique to you. You knew that. Yeah.
And we knew it very
Right
early
from
on
start.
that we had to protect the union. That was something that was very clear. We have to protect the union and be very vigilant around who you're allowing into your field and what their motives are. So I think we've learned a lot throughout all of our lifetimes together that all kind of came to fruition in this incarnation.
Right. Right.
Well,
And-
I learned a lot out of this lifetime as well.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Read it,
That goes-
believe it.
Yeah, that goes without saying.
Mhm.
And do you, just out of curiosity, did you have like specific like galactic memories or past life memories or certain situations where you were separated or, anything like that? Did you have things like that come up?
Or when we, oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, we've had so many remembrances of past lives, and I think when we first came into union, and I think it was intimacy was a big activator for remembrance, and Gary would start to get like,
I was getting all these codes, and I was getting like it was like a television reel that was going super fast, but it was going through all these different timelines when I closed my eyes. And I was just rhyming loads of stuff off, loads of lifetimes that I'd been flitting through. I'd been like, so I was flying through these timelines, and I was just saying them to Diane as they were coming up. So it felt like a reclamation. It felt like as if it was the codes and the keys coming back from these lifetimes, and then I would like text Diane and I would say I've just had this through, or I've had that through, and then Diane would like come back to me and say this is what it was, and so it was like the two of us were picking up on the same thing, same as well Kundalini awakening. It was like the same. The two of us at the very same time, but we didn't know that it was happening. It
yeah,
was like everything was just sinking. It was just like everything was coming into sync
Mm,
very, very quickly. And it was just like you're on mission, and there
yeah.
you go. There's everything you need, and everything else was starting to release from this lifetime was starting to leave, and the new, the kind of old reclamation of the soul was coming back in.
right, right, right. Yeah, and key word there too, mission. Like
Yeah,
that's, I never really could attach to something like that, but that's one thing that always has come through, and particularly in June. Like in June,
Mhm.
it became very, you know, well, it's kind of like your situation. You don't really have a choice. It's like, you're here on this mission, and the
Yeah,
mission's taking over now, and the
yeah,
summer's going to be hot, and it's going to burn a lot of impurities out, and you're being, you being the plural form, you all are being prepared because it's game time, which I think is probably tomorrow, October
yeah,
1st, right?
yeah.
Um, God, I was gonna ask you something. I was just so enthralled by what you were talking about. Um, oh, well, so in other words, that narrative or that statement that when in the present, I guess, this is 5D now, this is multidimensional now, so it means more than what it used to. But so in the present, especially where two or more gather, and you alter your perception via memories or a change in or a more openness or whatever, that you're essentially unentangling the past or changing the past.
Yeah, I think
Both.
this year for sure, like that was our intention, because when we were in Scotland, we were very focused on the mission. We were focused on building Indigo Blue Star and awakening and activating who we were contracted to work with. And when we came to Mexico, we had this, opportunity to just be together, just both of us for the first time. And we set our intention to work in our Divine Union template, and what that showed us is like not only the trauma bonds and the quantum entanglement and the darker things that you could have been involved in together as well, but it's also shown us the soul retrieval that's required to purify that template. So like throughout past lives, falls of consciousness, etc., that there's a lot of pain around separation of your union and the destruction of that union, and betrayal wounds, sisterhood wounds, brotherhood wounds, all of these different aspects that kind of affect your divine union template. So we've been on a mission really this year to purify that template as much as possible, to hold a higher divine union frequency, so that we can really anchor into Mexico what it is we want to anchor in here, and attract the right soul group to work with as well. So yeah, it's been a journey of, I suppose, like untangling and unweaving and separating in a sense and coming into our own individual pillars of light. Whereas before that, I think we really resonated with that term of twin souls and being half a soul, and that doesn't really resonate now that we've kind of went through that journey and reclaimed all of our soul parts. And it's an ongoing journey. We're working on it every day, aren't we? So it's like a reclamation of the divine feminine, the divine masculine, and that sacred union that's not I suppose, a distortion. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It makes sense in the sense that, okay, I guess so, whether we're talking about individuals or couples, but in the terms of the couple, it's almost like, yes, all those memories, all those remembrances, all the entanglements, the retrievals and everything is great. And you bring it all with you, but the real thing is made now. Like it almost doesn't matter what you were before
No.
because you're in this present state with all this information and coding. And this is what's so fascinating to me is the power of the now. Like I think in the Christian Bible they say born again or turn the page if you want to use Bob Seger. But I mean, it's like if there's anything such as the twins or whatever the other terms are, it's not something that's preordained. It's something that's made in the moment. And the human being has to be as present as any other aspect. And that's to me what I saw in the message that you guys sent me, the truth of, the human part of you.
Yeah,
I could
and
just
I think
tell.
that's very much our role, because we are very kind of raw and down to earth and very grounded in a lot of ways. That the spiritual journey came late in life to me, so I think we teach or we talk about spirituality in a way that's very relatable to people that, it is a human experience, and our human experience has led us to this magical point of reuniting and having this beautiful new life together. And that human experience was very challenging at times, but that's really molded us, yeah.
To become the beings that we are today. And through all of those darker times and those darker experiences, like they've just been the most beautiful lessons I've ever experienced. Although I spent a good 20 years going through dark times and going through all the things that people would go through in life, and never thinking that there was a way out, but always knew there was something. I was here for something. I always knew, even through the darker times, that there was something waiting on me. And I'd been through the relationship breakdowns, all of these things, but I always knew there was something, and that something was Diane, and it was the mission and the spiritual awakening. And that was the only thing it was the key for me coming out of everything and being able to assist people to understand why they went through what they went through and how we get out of it together. And it's like, without all of that darkness, I would never have been able to find the light. And that's the most beautiful experience that I can say that I've been on in this journey. And like the twin flame journey, I didn't even know what twin flames were. I didn't even know what meditation. I wasn't really like meditation or spirituality or anything. I was totally shut off from all of that. I would have thought it was woo-woo, all of these things. I came from a kind of tough upbringing with 6 big brothers, and all of these things just didn't resonate with me. I always knew there was something more, but to be here today and being on this journey is like the most beautiful reclamation of my soul that I could ever have imagined. and ever wished for in this life. And it's like when I see people speaking about the twin flame journey, and I see a lot of people like they really, really want it, and it's like they get kind of obsessed with it. I'm so blessed that we're so blessed that I didn't even know what a twin flame was. So for me, and when it happened, it was like, okay. And then when I got the information through, it was like, wow, this is the other half of me. I always knew there was the other half of me out there. I used to post about it on my Facebook years and years ago. I used to say there's somebody there for me, and I always knew, I always had this feeling. And that's the most beautiful thing about this journey, is that the unknowing and the not knowing to now knowing was the biggest reclamation that I could see on this journey.
Wow. Wow. That was a hell of a testimony right there. So in your experience with each other, unraveling and reweaving, did you have experiences or impressions or recognition of one another's opposite gender? Like, did you have a clash between your two feminines or your two masculines, or were you able to see his feminine and were you able to see her masculine? And did that did I say something funny? My mic. But I just mean in the sense of where you had to talk about it and point it out and speak to it. And was that easy or not?
We became the mirror for each other. We became we called each other out. We would sit and we would say, and we would sometimes get angry with each other as we navigated through it. And we definitely we seen each other's distortions, and we were mirroring each other back to each other. So we definitely recognized both masculine and feminine attributes in each other, and we definitely recognized what each other needed, and how we called each other out on it, and how we worked through it. And like, if that was a normal relationship before in the past, it would have ended badly.
Right.
But we were at that stage where the both of us were on this reclamation of our soul, and we knew what each other had for each other. We knew what each other had to do for each other in a way to bring us totally together with and bond our masculine and feminine, both for ourselves and each other.
I think for me, when we came into union, I was probably in my masculine energy, like a lot of women are. And Gary was he was masculine, but he was also very feminine. It was really quite well balanced with his masculine and feminine energies. But when we came into union and I was presented with his masculine, that did trigger me quite a bit, because I hadn't experienced that. I had only ever really experienced the wounded masculine. And I had never really experienced a masculine who calls you out on your shit effectively. And not many people did call me out, because I don't know why, but not many people did. So when you're faced with this masculine who's calling you out in your behaviour and your thought process, your patterns, it can be very triggering. And there was a bit of a tendency in the beginning for me to kind of try and run. Like, I didn't like the confrontation, I didn't like the reflection. But I think we learned to deal with it pretty quickly, because we were so in love. We were so in love, and we had such a deep respect for each other. And I think when you come into union as a counterpart, you remember that you've you're doing this to become the highest and best version of yourself. It's a spiritual activation. It's a spiritual embodiment of your higher self. It's not a normal relationship. So like Gary says, if it was a normal relationship, that would be different. But I think we both knew, like, this is about enlightenment and embodiment and growth and evolution. So I think that only really lasted with us for a few months. Before we kind of, the mirror effect kind of lessened and we stopped that kind of runner chaser. We only had that a few times and it was just like, you know, we wanted to be together. We wanted to work together. We wanted to co-create together and we just saw everything as a beautiful lesson.
Yeah. It was shedding the old programs came quite quick. We shed the old relationship programs very quickly, because we were getting so many downloads, so many activations at the time, and we were awakening really fast to our mission and our spiritual twin soul mission as well. So like, and that was the programs, but if that was a normal relationship, we would have just been fighting. It would have just been chaos, but we got through that quite quick.
Yeah, it was quite quick.
Yeah, I think you said it when you said essentially the love, like it's a different connection, and you come back in a sense. And then I think the other thing is, as I'm listening to you, the way you explain it sounds real understandable, but I have a feeling that everything that happened was not very typical or conventional. It was, I guess you could say, giving your power up to the force of the love versus the patterns of the old. But only a love that's true and real like that could sustain it. You know, it's not something you can teach. I don't think it's something you can teach. I think it's something.
Well, like for me, certainly when I met Gary and I realised like I was a counterpart and we connected, I realised it was something that on a subconscious level I had known about my whole life, that I was aware of.
Same.
And I realised like every relationship I'd ever had, they were all karmic relationships, but I wasn't ever like looking for that because I knew that person was never going to give me the love that I knew was out there.
Same.
And it was just like when I met Gary, I knew like that this is like what I've been waiting for. This is what I've been working towards my whole life. I just knew. And it's a mad journey because it does go into mission really quickly, but it's also an amazing love story as well. But it's it's just amazing. It's been an amazing journey for us, and obviously every journey is different, every experience is different. But for us, our journey was like we met, boom, we were on, let's go, and it's been the same ever since.
And we backed each other. That's the thing. But we never doubted each other. We backed each other right from the start, right from word go. It was just like every decision was like, okay, and we were getting the information that was coming in. It was telling us this is the next part of the mission, and it was just like everything we were getting, we were downloading. We were obviously coming back to ourselves, and the information was ourselves relaying that back to us to tell us where we're going on the journey, and we just followed the plan. We just surrendered to the plan. We surrendered to each other, and we just totally put our foot on the gas and just went full in and full on. It was just there was no going backwards. It was all forwards, and it was together as a union couple, and we knew that quite quick, which was a beautiful experience itself, and it was good to realise that at that early beginning as well, because then we knew like, okay, we're meant to do this together. This is our mission. And like Diane said, the relationships from the past, I'd been in relationships as well and never they never they were long-term relationships, but they always ended badly or ended and they always ended. And like that was, I had resigned to not being in a relationship. I'd spent many years myself single, and I said, and I'd never been married. I've never been like that. I never really wanted to get married. I never had that feeling of wanting to marry anybody that I'd been in relationships with until I met Diane. And then I just felt safe for one of the first times in my life, and safe and to let go of the personas that I'd been carrying, and the kind of false me that was, and I let go of it, and I just felt safe, and I just knew that the connection was just like something I've never experienced in my life.
Mm.
Actual unconditional love. And it was, I think authenticity was a big thing. It was because like the two of us were just authentic with each other, and there was no like any fake stuff. We weren't trying to impress each other. And we seen each other at our worst. We seen each other at our best, and that was the most beautiful thing about this journey.
Mm. Wow.
I think I'm falling in love with him.
Huh?
Just listening to him.
And so, and so it's brought you to well, leaving your home country.
Mhm.
I'm sure this was guided. Going to Mexico, which I'm sure is related to your past
Yeah.
lives. And so you mentioned about raising your union frequency to the clearest and highest you can, and with the objective being to attract your soul family. Do you feel like that we've entered, like my soul said, like you're on the other side now in 2025? And do you feel like that we're in a space now where these things will start to materialize? Even though that makes no sense in the old world. Two people are going to move to Mexico, and they're going to raise their union. And by virtue of that, they're going to attract those like frequencies. And uh, I guess the other thing is that was kind of a long question, but I'm getting chills. But and why did you choose Mexico?
Yeah, so Mexico, it was part of our journey. So when Gary and I came into union, Gary was dealing with a lot of physical health problems. He'd had sepsis, he'd almost died. And I had health problems as well. So he'd started following a holistic doctor on Facebook during the pandemic, during COVID and stuff, called Dr. Wolf, Dr. Darrell Wolf, the Doc of Detox. So he'd been following him and getting some of these nutraceuticals to help him with his health that were starting to raise his frequency, and he was starting to feel that they were working and things. And when we came into union, I had no idea who he was, but Gary said to me, I'm going to go to Mexico and do this guy's course, because he does a whole life coach course and a Wolf non-surgical body practitioner course. So I just laughed because I thought, where we were at that point in our lives, I thought there's absolutely no way that's happening. So I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And, we did. That's what happened. Not only did he do the course, we both came in 2022 with my younger son, and we did the course. We were here for a month, weren't we?
Mm-hmm.
We did the whole life coach course, which is an intensive 9-day course. It's all about emotional
Physical
mastery, nutrition, physical health, and then we did the bodywork practitioner course. And that was the first time either of us had been here. And that was a big catalyst for shifting our consciousness, shifting our frequency, and releasing a lot of these programs that me especially, it was a big catalyst for me, releasing a lot of programming that I'd held, a lot of the addictive programming, limiting programming. Gary, I feel, has always been a bit more immune to the programming than me. I feel like I was more heavily programmed. And and I had more kind of limiting beliefs and things like that. I think him being an indigo, he always thought outside the box. He was a bit more free of some of the programs that I had I was holding and some of the patterning. So the Doc of Detox was, and that experience for me was like, yeah, it calls it cracking your coconut. And that's effectively what he did to me. He cracked my coconut well and truly open. And I had a real realisation, because at that point, I think I thought I was really quite healed, because I'd beaten addiction and, you know, I thought I was healed. And when I went into that space, I soon realised the amount of mind control that I still had, the amount of programs, belief systems, and you know, how much I didn't love myself because I wasn't like nourishing myself the way I should have been. So it was a big catalyst for us, wasn't it? And we're so grateful to the Doc of Detox for that opportunity, because it was life-changing. And we went back to Scotland, implemented a lot of those protocols into our daily life. We started working on our physical health, emotional health, and Gary started doing the body work in Scotland and working with clients and things, didn't you?
Yeah.
And but we always knew we were going to go back. We just thought we were going to go back there. And we basically outgrew Scotland, I would say. We were trying to implement our work in Scotland, and it's difficult because, you know, a lot of people in Scotland, you know, they don't resonate with maybe the divine union pathway, or even the physical health pathway. There's a lot of poverty, there's a lot of disease, there's a lot of addiction and things. So it was difficult trying to bring these concepts into Scotland at that time. And we quickly realised it wasn't our mission to anchor that into Scotland. We quickly realised we were meant to come back here. So we started getting to work on working in the quantum field to clear any blockages and obstacles to prepare to come back. It took us 2 years to actually get here. But we got here. We sold our house, we sold everything we owned, we left everybody behind, even our dog. And we just came here guided. We didn't even really know what we were coming to do. We just knew this is where we're meant to be. Yeah.
It was a time for growth, like Diane says, and Scotland outgrew us. It was basically like we couldn't grow, and we had to get away from that kind of low dimensional frequency as well, because it's quite kind of low dimensional frequency in the UK, just not even Scotland as well. But and we had to get here to spend time together. With a lot of distractions in Scotland as well, and this was, like Dan said, we were just guided the whole way. We've been guided. I was guided to the Doc of Detox course, and then we were guided here. So that was the opener, and this whole journey we've been guided, and we've went with the guidance, and it's led us to this amazing journey. So it isn't like Scotland, moving from Scotland to here is just like, this is paradise. Scotland is beautiful and we love it dearly, but this is like a different kind of frequency and vibration in Mexico. It's just totally unique, and it's something that we had to do.
I think as well, when we got here, we had to leave that grid in order to grow and evolve. So once we got here, it was traumatic coming here. You know, it took a lot. It was a big pull to come here. But once we got here, so many like ancestral curses and, you know, past timelines came up for clearing that were connected to the grid, that were connected to our lineages as well. So I think it was part of breaking in the ancestral patterning, you know, actually having the courage to go against the grain and say, no, I'm giving my job up, I'm selling my house. And, you know, people weren't happy about it as well, like family and things like that. But we just knew, heart and soul, that this is what we've got to do. And it's like the mission came first, and the guidance that we were receiving came first. And it's really opened us up to like clearing out a lot of things out of our field that I don't know if we'd have been able to achieve in Scotland, to be honest. It's really changed our frequency, it's shifted our consciousness, everything. So it's been a complete, transformative experience. And since we've been here, we've done the course another 2 times as well.
That's my second question. No, it makes a lot of sense, be it an individual or a couple, given the times that we're in now, because I've noticed there's been a lot of movement with people in these last few months. And what I'm saying is, as you're stepping into this new version of yourself and each other and stepping into the mission further, which seems to be what's coming through from the collective or from our teams or from our souls, the push, push, push. Okay, this is it now. Okay, it's time to go to work, or however you want to put it. But it makes sense that as much as you love your home, Scotland, there's just too many of the old patterns embedded into that, and it's too easy to just, in kind of a second nature way, step into those things. Family, old rhythms and patterns and cultural, impressions that are made upon us that we don't even see. And then I can vouch for Mexico. And I don't know how many Mexicos there are out there, and maybe there's something different for everybody. I don't know, but it's a very free-flowing country. Everybody leaves each other alone.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. I marvel at this little town I'm in because, it's so authentic. It's got the cobblestone roads, and they put the trash on the corners.
Yeah.
And sometimes the wind comes or a dog gets into it and it gets spread out over the street. Then somebody will go out and clean it up, or they clean in front of their house and they clean the street in front of their house. And I was marveling the other day because I was like, I've never seen broken glass on the street.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, which means they must, if someone does break it, they must clean it up right away.
Yeah.
So, on one hand, you have Westerners that will say, oh my God, this place is dirty, but I don't see it. I see the energy of it, and, the families, the culture, the way they, they work hard, play hard, spend time with their family, go to church, whatever, have parades. I love going to the beach over here. There's a small, intimate beach over here with like 6 tiki huts. And I love going out there at the end of the day because you'll see lovers, you'll see families with the grandfather and the grandmother and the grandchildren and little babies and dogs running around. And it's just such a nature, a kind of a nature frequency, a natural frequency, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I can see how that would be much easier for you to do it there. Granted, you were guided. My second question was, how much of the Dr. Detox program is your program? Because I noticed on your website you have quite a diverse offering.
Yeah, our website's in the process of being updated, so it is a bit out of date. But sorry.
On the Doctor Detox, we implement that in our lives every day. So it's something that totally transformed my life, and allowed me to purify my body to be able to receive the spiritual connection. So it all works in coherence, it all works together with the physical, the emotional, the spiritual, and like the Doc Detox stuff. Like we still take the nutraceuticals every day, and we still follow the protocol. We still do the exercising, all of these things. We still do a lot of this stuff, and it's something that I implement and I teach on one-to-ones with men, masculines, because without those tools, I would never have got out of my mental health or my physical health situation. And I was at death's door. I was almost, I definitely wouldn't be here if I hadn't found the Docker Detox and started using that protocol, or started using his nutraceuticals and stuff. So without that, I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't have been able to meet Diane, and just and everything is guided. So it's definitely a big part of what we do. It's definitely a big part of what I do as well, and that's down to doing the physical like the physical body work treatments as well. I don't do them here as much, but I've done them in Scotland, and that's like a deep tissue work. We're using my elbow, and it's like amazing. It opens up all the emotional paths in your body. It releases the traumas, everything that's stuck in your body. And it's something that we will definitely put into the sessions with people, because it does transform everything when you're doing it all in conjunction with each other. It's not just tapping into the divine, it's about opening up this beautiful temple that we've got.
Is that one of those body treatments that leaves bruises on you?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've known a couple of people. One that used the elbows, and I wasn't there, but I saw pictures, and I wondered, because I knew another guy that did that. I'm not quite sure how he did it, but I saw the bruises on the people's bodies after it was over, and I thought, what the hell is that?
That's the toxins coming up. That's toxins coming out your body. That's what happens.
Yeah.
When you're bruising, it means you're toxic. And then that's where my body was very toxic before I met Diane, and that's why I ended up with sepsis. And that's part of it. So
I think for us, we've took what we've learned through the Docker Detox teachings and that journey, and incorporated it into like our quantum life coaching, because we very much believe you need to be working on a multidimensional level, as well as a physical level and a spiritual level and an emotional level. So we bring through all of that through our life coaching, and adding in the quantum aspect, looking at people's past lives and doing soul retrieval and things like that. I feel like that's what we really did with that. What we learned there, it helped us to heal on a massive level. And since being here in Mexico, we've been using like the cardio med beds that the Docker Detox has got here. We've been using some of the other energy medicine, Sonic as well, because I have a lot of damage to my body through the years of addiction. I've got adhesions, I've got blockages in the gut and things like that. So coming here, when we came here, we felt we were coming here to anchor in our divine union frequency and to create a beautiful healing space. That was what we felt we were coming to do. And what's happened is it's been flipped on its head, and we've went on the deepest healing journey that we've been on in the last 7 years or whatever, where we've not just purified ourselves on an emotional, spiritual level. It's been very much a physical reclamation as well, through using the cardio med beds and, connecting with the Docker Detox again, doing the course again. And, he's a very, very inspiring man and a powerful mentor as well. So we're very grateful to have had that opportunity to receive his medicine as well.
Wow. Okay. And so now you've been there almost a year, right? I guess a year. Okay. And so, all right. So first of all, it's indigobluestar.com. Is it right? Is it .com?
That's the website, yeah, but it has been updated. I'm in the process of doing all that right now. It's just been a bit challenging with all the shadow work.
All the what? All the what?
All the shadow work.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what we were talking about. Yeah, and I think that's great. I love what you said. Like, we came over here to do this, and we got dumped on our head, and now we're having to do what everyone else has had to do this year.
Yeah. Exactly.
But once you get going, hopefully today's the last day. There's people putting out stuff that says, I don't know, is it Saturn comes back and this is happening, but like, we're really stepping into beginning to co-create, which is what you guys want to do, what your life is. But once you get settled, do you feel that you'll be doing mostly work online, or do you feel that people will actually start coming, if even for a retreat or permanently, as you were saying earlier.
Yeah, so all of our work's online at present, but we really have a vision of anchoring a beautiful divine union space here in Mexico and Troncones, which is an area quite near to where we are, that's holding beautiful paradise codes. And our vision is to do for it to be to work with individuals and couples on the divine union journey, the path of Heros Gamos, and just incorporating all that we do into that in a physical, a beautiful divine union temple space. So that is our vision. And we definitely want to do in-person work retreats to create a space for people to come and evolve and grow as well. And transform.
We've just been, this year's just been a preparation for ourselves, like Diane says. We came here and we've went a bit deeper on our journey, our physical, the emotional, the spiritual, and just learning more about ourselves and becoming closer in the divine union. And it's been a year of reclamation for the both of us, and we're reclaiming our superpowers, I would say, and so that we can step into this next role. The next role is in-person events, people coming. Definitely, I see that as we're not just here by chance. We've been guided the whole way, and we've seen the future like every time we get somewhere, we see ahead again. So that's definitely something that we will focus on in the future. It will happen.
Yeah.
We'll have to get together again if you guys are up for it. Because I kind of stacked two shows close together, an hour and a half apart. So we have another show in 15 minutes. But because I'd like to talk more. First of all, I just want to thank you. It's been a very moving episode because there's a lot of code I'm picking up from y'all, and I'm sure others are too. And also to thank you for being open, and also being open about what this year has been. And I really feel like on this last day of September that what I've been hearing most of the year, certainly the summer, is that we're being prepared one final time, and it's now time to play big, I guess you would say. Or we're used to saying don't be small or don't play small, but I mean to really step into our strength and our light and our power and our transparency, which is another big thing that I'm grateful for both of you for being so transparent. But yeah, I'd love to get together with you again and talk about Helios Gamos and talk about the sessions that you do and how the aspects and voices of the universal come through and what that evolution has been like. Because for years on this show, I always dig into the person I'm with, because I know that in their story there's certain things other people can gain from because they're going through it now.
Yeah.
And so I feel like with the evolution of the masculine part of us, very recently has seemed to go through the roof. And, I just feel like that there's something to this story that you told or that you've experienced in the last year. So, thank you very much for coming in and sharing space and being so open with us and honoring us with your presence and your story. And I look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Yes, it has. Very much so. Thank you so much. And everyone, if you're interested, we'll be back in 15 minutes with Gareth Jenkins and Katie Kiss. They come on every week at this time. They have extraordinary coding as well. And I will see you guys soon. I'll reach out